try this again. Still to me.
Oh,
You have a counterpoint?
I do. If you'll allow me a minute to get this
For off of you?
dog hair off to me.
Murderbot, Season 2. Season 1. There is no Season 2 yet. Has it even been announced? Who knows? Season 1, Episode 4. Good ep.
Good app. Also 22 minutes. We're not getting away from that very tiny sitcom style.
So
runtime.
actual episode minutes is like 18 with that.
With the long intro. I feel like you've made this joke before.
It's not even a joke.
And
It's
on
just,
and off mic.
We did have an entire conversation with your wife without having to pause the episode because it was the length of the intro.
Yes, and she did not talk fast.
No. And she thought I was you for about half of the conversation.
She's actually legally blind in one eye.
Okay.
Unfortunate accent. Very recent. She's all better now. You won't see. You won't
notice at all.
No, it's all fixed.
Episode started. They're he's getting dragged away by our other security bot.
No, the episode starts back in time with his creation. We get to go and visit a factory where these murder bots are made. And I was joking with you at the time that it felt very Alien Romulus.
You did?
Esque, because we had just watched that and it had that same dystopian you going to
work for the company
here until you die type of it took me about 30 seconds to start to separate the two.
They felt
so familiar in
They
tone
felt very
were they.
similar. Yep. It also had a little bit of a Westworld feel to it, just in the like building of the robot, except for not as well ran as Westworld was.
Correct. And what was the nug that they left us with there?
From that piece?
From that little snip.
Was the guy cursing at the head of our Skarsgård.
Skarsgård was not made all the way perfect.
No, and nobody really.
He was on that lower standard deviation of what they would deem as acceptable quality control. So he still passed through, but he's sort of on that bottom rung, as it were. And the guy said that sometimes the robots who are not made good, or I guess maybe just in general, I don't recall, will come back and try and enact some type of vengeance upon their maker. And
Who is this new intern?
And the intern gave us a little scared, silly look there. So they planted a seed there. Not sure if they're going to come back to it or not. But
and then didn't he also say,
that.
"Fucking come at me" or something like that to Skarsgård's floating head?
Yeah, he had a moment of forced fake bravado. Yes.
Yeah. Then we went to him being dragged.
We pick up. Yes.
Good call. I can't believe I forgot that whole moment.
I can.
You can, because it just happened. He's getting drugged by the security bot, the all black, obviously bad guy security bot. Hashtag June 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And he proceeds to be placed on a table, and he's wondering why he's not going to get torn apart or killed. He wonders what death for a robot's going to be. It's probably the most humanish moment of this ep. And then he gets a device slammed into the back of his neck, which begins to implant him with software that will take over him.
Yeah, he's clicked on the wrong website, essentially. He's got a virus in his neck.
Two things.
Make him do bad things.
One, back to the factory, we also find out that they all have different faces.
Yeah, we do.
Which is an interesting something.
That they kind of hand wave away that if they malfunction, it's easy to tell which one is which.
Yep. It also would be that you wouldn't see another one that reminds you of the one that went crazy and killed all your friends. And he doesn't actually get the device put in his neck. He uses a distraction by singing the theme song to the space show he loves and distracts the other security bot just long enough to reboot his system. And then they have a little bit of a hand-to-hand combat battle, which I really appreciated. I think the combat in the show is pretty fantastic.
Yes.
I like it. It has that martial arts aspect to it, but it also has the like over exemplification of they are stronger than a person, so they smash through a lot of objects and they pick each other up with one hand, which is always fun to watch.
And this is playing to Skarsgård's strengths, right? You saw The Northman.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that movie ripped.
Yeah.
So you know he can do this type of physical fights and violence, and
he can do hard,
like a hulking,
yep,
larger than life martial arts power type of character.
He does lose to the security bot, and the security bot does slam this thing into his neck and starts to upload the software. At this point, when he thinks it's all over, he's screwed. All of a sudden, a drill goes through the body of the bad security bot, which does not kill it, but does incapacitate it. We find our captain, who had been arguing earlier with other members of the crew whether they should go in or leave the security bot. Most of them were saying, look, the security bot said to leave it, to go. We should do what the security bot says. But she very much thinks that it is a integral member of the crew, and she is having a hard time reckoning with leaving him behind. And then she goes in with a gun. At some point decides to put the gun down and replace it with what she says, I wanted something bigger. And so she finds a mining drill, essentially, or a mining... seems like more of a jackhammer than a drill, but I think she calls it a drill.
Handyman to handyman, you can appreciate her using that type of tool to do this.
It's very video game-esque, and the guy with the big chainsaw. You're like, actually a bad weapon, but excellently entertaining.
And it is interesting that she would, because if Murderbot is just a robot, you can just leave the robot there. It's no problem. You just get a new robot. Yep. But if you know Murderbot is sentient, as we do, as viewers, we know we come back for her.
This is the character we care about.
She thinks he's just robot, but still does come back for him anyway.
Yep.
Maybe subconsciously, knowing that he is.
Well, they do a really good job of saying, well, one, they're still trying to figure out if he's not normal. Like in the last episode, they had discussed that a lot, where they're like, something's going on with our security bot.
We didn't have any of those beats this ep.
No.
But you're right, that there's a carryover effect from episode 3.
And then there is they do mention to stop anthropomorphine.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. We're not moving on until you get this word. We're not gonna move on until you get it.
Anthropomorphizing.
Nope, that's not it.
Yes, it is. You can't gaslight me. I'm not your wife. Which is exactly what she's doing. Which is like, this is not supposed to be a thing, but it is showing mammal-like attributes, and so I am making it a person. Which we know secretly he does have a sentience or some sort of sentience.
It would be sort of hard not
they should.
to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Having a human face and
putting a human face in something's going to do that.
Hands.
And it saved their life at several different occasions. And it's at this point risking its life for them. They make a quite hilarious escape where the entire time he's hallucinating that he's on deck of this ship. Uh-huh. So he's saying some pretty hilarious lines and delivering them quite well to the captain.
Dude, he is game.
Yeah.
For this goofy role.
And I think he does a very good job of mixing goofy with, like, I'm also security, I'm also a killer robot.
We were talking about this after first step about seeing this other side of Skarsgård, this goofy, humorous side. He's got really good comedic timing. This was the goofiest yet, and most of that is in this dream sequence. Him in his TV show that he's
his delivery in the TV show persona and outside of the TV persona are both dead on, in that he's hallucinating, but we see him in and out of the hallucination, and they are both clearly different, but still play very well, and it's very interesting. And I love his reaction to getting asked to do something in the TV show and not knowing how to do it. And then everything's on him. So this clearly like is him living out this like, oh, me being the thing responsible for keeping everything safe is actually weighing on him. And that's like happening in the stream, even though he's the one being saved at this point. We get a little bit of a funny action where one of the other scientists or the other crew members takes a gun to go
to go and save them. We have 3 separate savings.
Yeah.
Of our Murderbot. The second one is the least successful.
He of course is the hilarious comic relief to this, where he's about to shoot in the door and then the wall blows out and the captain and him come out of the wall, and then the robot come and they fight for a minute, and then the ship shows up with the 2 other pilots.
He also knocks himself out.
He does.
He sets his laser to full
They
on.
say set it to medium.
He sets it to high. He shoots it, and the recoil does cause the gun to throw back, hit him in the face, and render him unconscious for a significant amount of time.
He also misses that shot, I believe,
in the fight type of time frame.
Yeah.
And then our third saving is the ship.
The other 2 members of the triad, the married couple, come down,
flies down, and stomps our bad robot
a couple of times. The repeated smash definitely is awesome. I loved them landing on a pier. That was a pretty badass moment, and then to cap it off with the comedy of smashing the robot a couple of more times was pretty great.
The second smash was very funny. Yes.
I love the excitement these characters have when they do something badass, when they're clearly like they're supposed to be this higher level of like violence isn't in their vocabulary, and they very much like, yeah, like I did a badass thing, and I find that prototypical but quite funny. And that is almost it. At which point we find out the software has completely downloaded. He pulls the thing out of his neck, but it's not going to do anything at that point because the software is now on him. He warns them that he's going to kill all of them, and he says, "Please kill me. That's the only way you're going to save yourselves." And they refuse to do that, and he shoots himself.
And that's where we
left off.
That's where we end.
Not in the head, right in the chest, which again,
where your robot bits are. This is where the robot heart
little bits,
is.
The bits and bobs. I do. I always wonder what like we make assumptions about the anatomies of robots, and you and I just watched Companion recently. I don't know if you were awake for this part.
I don't either. Because you haven't told me what the part is.
He basically makes the companion shoot herself in the head, and then he calls the company and cries about how their robot went crazy and to come save them. And 2 people come and pick up the companion, and they play dumb, and they're very much like, "Oh yeah, we'll deal with this, not a problem." And then they mention how we're just going to take it back and like download all of the video and memories. And because it's obviously not in the head, because like you don't need all the normal organs. And this obviously freaks him out. But it is funny when they're walking her out on like a stretcher, this quote unquote dead companion. And one of them goes, "Oh yeah, he's totally screwed." Like there's, they obviously put a mod chip in it. But I thought that was a funny moment in the movie, but it translates to this where I think it's interesting that he shoots himself in the chest, and we have no idea what that actually means. Like normally for a person that's like, I shot myself in the heart, but we don't actually know how his anatomy works, other than it wasn't put together great, but good enough to be sent out into the field.
And 2 more things. One is he is from the point where this starts to get downloaded, he has inklings that something has happened.
Yes.
So for parts of it, he knows that he has got this chip in, and then once the chip is in, it erases all a trace of itself. So he has a lot of monologues about how something is wrong. He was going to tell his leader something.
He does this while she's walking him out. Yeah.
Exactly. So he has this idea that something is incorrect. Can't really put his finger on it up until the end there, where he needs to try and take his own robot life. And 2, we find out that the reason that our bad robot kept Murderbot alive was so that the virus patch would complete, and then the Murderbot would actually turn on.
It would take all of the credit for killing everybody. Yep.
And kill everybody, and that he wouldn't have to do anything. So that's why he
actual
has
plot point
missed all of his shots and has not finished off the Murderbot when he had the opportunity.
That's why that Murderbot didn't kill everybody.
He's sandbagging a little bit so that our
Murderbot
hero
takes the fall.
Mm-hmm. So,
I have one important question for you.
Yeah.
Is he dead?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's not.
What makes you think that?
I think we got 6 more eps.
Oh.
And even at a 20-minute runtime, that's still about 2 hours.
How fun would it be if they did take him out? Not fun because I want more Skarsgård, but what a fun little plot point if it's not about them. It's like the Sean Bean effect.
It would be very bold. It'd be very interesting. Spoilers. Goodness gracious. You need to flag that in editing. Oh, my goodness.
Spoilers to Game of Thrones. Sean Bean isn't in all of it.
If you followed any of Sean Bean's career, you're gonna be caught off guard, and that's why you cast a character like Sean Bean. No, it would be fun. It'd be very exciting. I don't think you ever make a TV show or a movie better by removing a Skarsgård.
No,
I would violently push.
What
back
about
on that.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Ep1 they removed a Skarsgård.
Bad choice. Should have. But if you could take the Skarsgård, subtract him, replace with a new Skarsgård, that would be interesting. But we really haven't seen any
I mean, the show is called Murderbot. Maybe he's not the Murderbot. Maybe the Black Bot was the one that was the Murderbot.
Maybe it's the humans that are the Murderbots. Did you fucking think of that?
No, we're just talking about right now.
Oh.
Well, anything else?
Stay cold.